What's up, everybody, and welcome to another extra episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, we're going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and, well, anything about movies. I'm one of your co-hosts, Chase Lee, for tonight, and typically what we do on this show is we'll, go over some movie news, trailers, and have movie reviews for you guys, but you know what? It's that time of year again. And I've always brought back the same person for the Oscar coverage because he was one of the OG people that helped me, when I started doing the podcast. I was like, Terence, you gotta come on, let's talk about some Oscar stuff. And this was like 4 years ago. And at that point, we just knew, we clicked, and we're like, we have to do this every single year. And so he is back once again. We're going to be covering the 90th Academy Award nominations. They dropped this morning, so we're going to give our spin on the movies that were nominated, surprises, snubs, what should, what will win. It's going to be a lot of fun, but before we begin, Terence, how are we doing today? It is time. It is here, and I can feel it. Unfortunately, we got to wait another month and a half for the ceremony.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's the only thing that sucks about it, though. Dude, I live for this years, man. I live for this moment of all the movies you watch throughout the entire year, all the actors, all the performances, all everything. It comes to this moment, and then some of it can be disappointing, some of it can be really a revelation, some can be really exciting, some of it can be really surprising. But either way, it's something to talk about, and I'm glad to be back here.
Exactly. I'm not even joking when I say this. Of course, Terence is one of my favorite people to follow in general on social media. But what Terence does, he does the exact same thing as our friend Jackson, where in December, they will literally flood their Facebook with last-minute catch-ups before the end of the year. Like, hey, I saw another movie today. I saw a movie again. And it's like, Terence, where you been at? You've been silent for 3 months, and he just comes and hits you with a bunch of movies.
I know, man. For me, it's I only tweet about something or post about something if it's really that major for me to do it. If it's a movie, it's a meh, it's you know what, not really for me to talk about, whatever. But if it's something I really loved, you know what, then I'm gonna express my feelings on it too. So it's yeah, I noticed that I'm pretty much MIA from maybe April to November, and then November to January. I'm there. I'm really
So basically, Terence is like a bear, and he hibernates for 9 months, and then comes out of the woodworks, and it's I'm here to watch all the year's worth of movies in 3 months.
It's not my fault either, because you think about January, February, sometimes March, sucky movies. So why talk about it? You already know the idea. It's I'm gonna hate it. So
that's true. So I'll give you that. Usually the winter times, it's whatever. The summer can be iffy. It's mainly that fall time that is just so great with movies, and that's what we're here to talk about. And even some of the ones nominated, before we get into it, some of them came out in February of last year, and it's that's pretty impressive. And that movie that we're talking about has just broken history for many reasons. But before we begin, I don't really talk to Terence much about movies all the time. I usually can just gauge from his Facebook posts and stuff, and that's how I communicate with Terence. But how was the year in movies for you? Was 2017 a pretty solid year? Was it pretty disappointing? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think compared to 2016 is on the come up, because 2017 was really decent. I liked a lot of movies this year compared to 2016, because 2016 to me was meh. I wasn't really happy about it. I felt like an old man in 2016. But 2017, for real, I felt I was so grumpy in 2016. And now 2017 really made me feel youthful again for the fact that we have actually really good movies to talk about.
Yeah, I kind of feel this. I kind of look at it like this, where I was talking to Joel about this, and last year there were a handful of movies that were wow, that was superior cinema. And then this year, there's a really good handful of great ones. So it's almost we have superior ones from last year, and then we have a lot of great ones this year that all kind of crammed within December, by the way, because we're going to go through the nominations. A lot of them are missing. There's a lot of them that didn't even get touched. And, that's unfortunate, but that's just the name of the game. So, Terence, buddy, if you're ready to do this, I'm ready to go down. So,
let's go.
So let's go ahead and start from the bottom, and we'll work our way up.
The bottom over here.
So this one, and this is basically, I believe, the order it was read, in the morning, announcements or whatever. But I don't know why this one's always first. Best achievement in production design. We have Beauty and the Beast, Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, Darkest Hour, and The Shape of Water. This is actually a pretty solid list. I actually have no issues with either one of these. To put it in perspective, I didn't really care for The Darkest Hour, but I can't deny that the production design and the costuming was pretty on point. What should win is Blade Runner 2049. That's one of the few aspects of the film, on a visual standpoint, that actually, exceeded. But I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to give it to The Shape of Water. I think that will win this.
You know what? You're right. I mean, I don't agree with you with the fact that the Blade Runner 29 taking it though. But I would have went with Beauty and the Beast because for some reason, something with the costumes and the way the set was designed for us, I kind of like that more a little bit. But like you said, Darkest Hour, like you said, I wasn't a big fan of it too. Dunkirk, great.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking that's a favorite for me for a production design or whatever. Shape of Water, I can see that being the early favorite because it's winning everything as of late. So I can see that winning. And for me, dark horse would be Beauty and the Beast though. But I wouldn't be surprised if Blade Runner 2049 or The Shape of Water even win. So
yeah, yeah, that one's tough because I think you're right. I think Beauty and the Beast has a good chance to kind of sweep in there and surprise everyone. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with my two. I think you and I are on the same page. It's either in between Blade Runner or Shape of Water, and then Beauty and the Beast is, a dark horse, which I totally agree with. All right, this one baffles the hell out of me, but whatever. Best animated feature film. Terrence, would you like to read the nominees?
All right, best animated feature. We got Coco, Loving Vincent, The Breadwinner, Ferdinand, and The Boss Baby.
Okay, so did you throw up just a little bit reading The Boss Baby?
See, I would throw up, but if I would have seen The Boss Baby.
Oh, okay.
So I was I slacked off with this year of seeing a lot of animated movies, honestly, because none of them really looked that interesting. I mean, I had an opportunity to see Loving Vincent, but it's January and February. I mean, December, and it's do I really want to go? And the showtimes are crazy. So it's I mean, Boss Baby, I looked at the trailers. It's okay.
It's bad.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad I missed it, honestly.
So, Terrence, I have a question for you. Where the hell is the Lego Batman movie?
I don't know. I mean, from what you tell me, The Boss Baby's really that bad. I mean, the Lego Batman movie, I liked. I didn't think it was great, but I think it has to be better than The Boss Baby.
Oh, for sure.
The Boss Baby. I'm a Batman fan. I love Batman, whatever. It's not the greatest movies of all time or of this year, but when you put The Boss Baby in it, it's
it's a slap in the face. It's just slapping that movie. It's I mean, this one's easy. It's Coco all the way. I mean, should and will. And I haven't seen Loving Vincent or The Breadwinner, but I've heard great things from both, actually. So it's really funny that I haven't seen those two movies and I hear great things, but I've seen The Boss Baby. So, but I've seen Coco as well. So, I mean, that's my should and will. I mean, it's pretty simple on this one. What about you?
Same thing, Coco. Just because it's Disney and Pixar. So
did you see Coco?
No, I didn't. I swear, I really slapped on. I should take my animation card away from me because I only saw one animated movie this year, which was Lego Batman movie. So it's I'm sorry.
Well, Terrence, I'm going to put something on the line for you. I wouldn't even consider Coco just to be the best animated movie, but also could be in contention if they filled a 10th slot for Best Picture.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
that
that good. I mean, I really enjoy it, so, all right, next one is Best Foreign Film, and you feel like you slacked. I slacked on documentaries and foreign films. I didn't see any of these.
Likewise.
Okay, so we'll just go over the nominations and move on. Best foreign film, and it's not because we don't want to cover them. It's just we didn't see them, so I have no input. A Fantastic Woman, On Body and Soul, The Square, Loveless and The Insult. I actually had an opportunity to see The Insult. I just couldn't get around to it. A Fantastic Woman actually looks really good. That was one of the trailers that played before Call Me By Your Name when I saw that. And I've heard a lot of people talk really highly of The Square, so I don't know, probably The Square, I guess. But can't really comment because it'd be pointless, so we're not going to go around, dance around that. So, okay, Terence, you remember last year where, for the documentaries, you and I were on point. We're like, it was the OJ one. It was I Am Not Your Negro. It was oh man, and there was a couple others where I was like, I've seen at least 4 out of the 5. I gotta be honest with you, I haven't seen any of these documentaries, and the only one I came close to seeing, I saw an hour of Icarus before I turned it off because it was boring. So, I mean, Terence, did you see any of these documentaries this year?
You know what, too? It's like, honestly, like, when it comes to, like, documentaries, I usually see them lastly, like, around December and November, and I probably catch them on Netflix. And then if somebody says something, oh, catch this documentary or whatever like that, because it's good. But honestly, this year or last year, I haven't seen a lot of documentaries. I mean, I tried to watch one, but it was on Bigfoot, but that joint sucked. So, like, but looking at these ones, like, it was hard for me this year. This and animation was like really I slacked off in.
No, Terence, we both slacked off. I remember last year, you and I actually had thoughtful conversations about the OJ movie and I Am Not Your Negro, and it's like, we can't talk about anything this year because we haven't seen anything.
Honestly,
it's embarrassing.
Yeah, slacking right now.
It's so embarrassing. So, but documentary feature, just to go over the nominations, Abacus, Small Enough to Jail, Icarus, the one I told you I saw an hour of, Strong Island, Last Minute in Aleppo, and Faces Places. Yep, there you go. All right, moving on to other ones that I'm going to go ahead and just go on a limb that we definitely have not seen, unless Terence wants to speak up right now.
No. If you were a betting man, you would have won. So
okay, so for best documentary short subject, Edith plus Eddie, Heroine, Traffic Stop, Knife Skills, and Heaven is a Traffic Jam on the 405. Sounds cool. And also, I'm not, I don't want to joke around. I want to, be serious for a second. Like, there is a theater in my my area that plays all of the documentary shorts, the animated shorts, the live action shorts. I want to attend that this year. I want to actually see all these so I can make a conscious decision when Terence and I cover the actual ceremony that I'll be like, I'll be comfortable with going, that's my pick, versus, taking a guess. So I want to actually do that this year. But yeah, as of right now, Terence and I are terrible movie pundits, so take it for what you will. All right, so best live action short, DeKalb Elementary, The 11 O'Clock, Watu Wote, All of Us, My Nephew Emmett, and The Silent Child, all sound great. Best animated short, Kobe Bryant is nominated for an Oscar. That's kind of interesting. Dear Basketball is his short animated film. Didn't even know he made one. Yeah, it's like my coworker came around the bend because we were talking about the nominations, right? And he was like, "Dude, Kobe's nominated for an Oscar." I'm like, "What?" It's like I was taken back. I was like, "Wait, the basketball player, right? It's not the filmmaker?" And he's just like, "No, the basketball player." So that's interesting. So Dear Basketball, Lou, Revolting Rhymes Part 1, Garden Party, and Negative Space all sound great. All right, Terence, I will let you do the original score because this one is a doozy.
All right. So for best score, we got Dunkirk, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Say that 3 times fast. Phantom Thread, and The Shape of Water. So for this one, this is honestly a decent list. I probably would have added. Like, we would have added 6-1. I probably would have added Logan, because, like, Logan really stuck with me for the score. Phantom Thread was pretty good. Shape of Water, I really don't remember. I mean, it's like probably like a light simmer where you can hear it in the movie. But for me, I would say, hands down, since Logan's not there, I would put Dunkirk as my winner. That should win. But what probably will win would be Shape of Water. Just because.
Unfortunately, Shape of Water is going to win this. And you're right. Shape of Water, when you watch the movie, it's a good score that accompanies the story. It's very fantasy, whimsical type of music, and when the situations in the movie get dire, it gets really kind of amped up with the tension. It's a good score, but the problem is it's competing with. I would actually even say there's 3 of these in here that dominate The Shape of Water. The Phantom Thread score is amazing by Johnny Greenwood. The Dunkirk score by Hans Zimmer, as always, wonderful. And even the Star Wars The Last Jedi score is actually really good. So,
yeah.
I mean, Terrence, this is tough because what should win, I got a 50-50 split with Phantom Thread and Dunkirk. I honestly can't decide which one I like better, but I really don't know. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement. I think Shape of Water will probably win. That's not a bad choice, but just for personal preference, because I just recently saw Phantom Thread, a couple weeks ago, and it's still fresh in my mind. And that score is romantic. It's sweeping. It's haunting. It's like it's a bunch of different themes put together. And Johnny Greenwood once again nailed it because he was also the composer on The Master for Paul Thomas Anderson, and that was also a brilliant score. And then Hans Zimmer, we don't even need to talk about that man. He's Hans Zimmer. So I don't know. Okay, let's play Sophie's Choice, Terrence. If you could only pick one, and these other 4 are eliminated, which one are you going with?
Oh, to win it?
Well, just your favorite one out of the 5, and all the rest of the ones are obliterated from history.
All right, Dunkirk. I'm going with.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give the slight edge only to Phantom Thread, only because it's fresh.
Because honestly, Dunkirk was like it wasn't Logan. It was Dunkirk came right in the second. So
okay. Hey, listen, Terrence, makes a good argument because Dunkirk is powered with visuals and music. I mean, that's what it's powered with. So yeah, that's a good pick, man. But yeah, unfortunately, Shape of Water, you probably got this. Not a bad pick, but it is what it is. All right, so here we go. Original song, "Call Me by Your Name" with "The Mystery of Love." Coco, "Remember Me," which when Terrence finally watches Coco, he's gonna cry at that song. Marshall, "Stand Up for Something." Mudbound, "Mighty River," and "The Greatest Showman," "This Is Me." Full disclosure, before we even continue on the rest of this list, for the rest of the podcast, Mudbound is the only significant movie I have not seen yet. So I can't comment on Mary J. Blige when we get to her nomination, and of course this. But out of the ones I have heard, which are the other 4, it's Coco. Now, here's the thing though. The "Call Me by Your Name" song is wonderful. It captures the 80s very well. It's like just a really nice, sweet, romantic song. But "Remember Me," it's sung in 2 different aspects, where it's sung as kind of a poppy song, and also sung as like a really emotional gut punch. And I think since they double dipped on the same song in different ways in the film, I think that is my pick for should and will win. Now, the dark horse is probably going to be "Call Me by Your Name," but unfortunately, this is the Academy. I didn't like this movie at all, but "The Greatest Showman" does have a good chance, unfortunately. So, the Marshall song, don't sleep on that either. The "Stand Up for Something" one, it's done by Common, which reminds me of the song he did at the end of Selma when that came out. So. Yeah, exactly. So it was like one of those songs that you remember when you leave the theater. So to be honest with you, I like, at least 3 of them out of the ones I've heard. "The Greatest Showman," that song, "This Is Me," is catchy, but the other ones are better. So I'm sorry, but I think Coco should and will win.
Okay. Like "The Greatest Showman" says, we gotta talk about it, because I saw you review of "The Greatest Showman." It's like, I like the movie. Like, Chase, come on, man.
You know what? A lot of people did, and I got the most dislikes on a review in a long time.
I wasn't one of them. I said, when we talk about it, I gotta bring it up. It was like, no, but like with this category, I like this category though. Like, with "The Greatest Showman," right? This is me. Like, I like the song, but it's like I feel that "This Is Me," the song, is like not even the best song in the original in the movie. I think "The Greatest Showman," that the regular one, the one they say in the trailers or whatever.
This is the greatest show.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
greatest. I think that's the one. That's the better one
Okay.
compared to This Is Me. The Call Me by Your Name one, I loved. Like it just like takes you to a place where it's like you said, the '80s of the moment in time where the story takes place. So it has an essence of what the story is actually like. Even when you listen to the song in itself, it takes you back to the movie, and that's what I love about it. So like, every time I listen to it, it's like I remember this scene, I remember that scene. That's why I love the movie so a lot. Also, too, I would have also nominated Visions of Gideon in this category too, because that was also a great song too at the end of the movie. But with Mudbound, don't worry, Chase. Even if you didn't see it, it's not the greatest of movies. It's an okay movie. It's all right. And honestly, I don't remember hearing the original song for this one, so I really can't give a take of it. But either way, it wasn't that memorable. I didn't see Marshall. I didn't see Coco. But for me, what should win is Call You by Your Name.
Mm.
What probably will win, ah, it'll probably be Coco. Probably be Coco to me. Even though I wouldn't like it, but I think Call Me by Your Name should win. But Coco will probably take it, to be honest with you.
So I have to ask you, do you think since La La Land was literally last year and the Greatest Showman song is from those lyricists, do you think they're going to ride that wave and the Academy would throw it to them again in a row?
That's tough. That's tough though, because like I think not because when you look at the category of songs we got in this one, because like I think last year I don't think it wasn't as like epic or as profound as it was this year for last year. So I think La La Land had like easy time of like winning that category, but this year I don't think it has an easy time of winning this category because like I said, the song they selected it's not even the best song in the movie.
Yeah.
So I think it has a chance to win or as a dark horse, but I don't think it has an easy win like it did for La La Land. So
I would agree. I mean, like I said, I may not like the movie, and Terence is probably wanting to punch me, but that's fine. But I can acknowledge that the songs were catchy and they were well written. So the songs are not the problem; it's everything else around it. But yeah, strong category. Believe it or not, I didn't think original song would be strong, but. Yeah, I think Coco's got this in the bag, and also my girlfriend is Hispanic, so she would kill me if I didn't pick that. All right, so moving on.
good choice. Good choice.
Exactly. All right, so Terrence, you got the next one with makeup and hairstyling.
All right. So we got The Darkest Hour, Victoria, and Abdul, and we got Wonder. So only I missed out on Victoria and Abdul, so I really can't give a comment on that. But so this is tough too because like both Darkest Hour and Wonder had great makeup and hairstyling. So it's like it's hard because like this is one of those categories that I wish there would be a tie because I like both of them.
Yeah.
If I had a gun to my head, I would have to go probably with Wonder because with Wonder I barely recognized that it was Jacob Tremblay in the movie.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for his voice, I wouldn't know it was him. Darkest Hours is great too. I'm not no slack off that, but for me, just a slight edge to Wonder because that one I didn't recognize Jacob Tremblay, so it's like I have to go with that.
Okay. And hey, Terrence, do not count out ties because our first Oscars that we covered had a tie in sound editing, right? So yeah. So I mean, ties are existent, unfortunately, in this ceremony, but. I'm actually the opposite of Terrence. I haven't seen Wonder, but I've seen Victoria and Abdul. Victoria and Abdul is, if we're just talking strictly in this department, it's really not that impressive, I guess, compared to the other two, because even if I just watch Wonder's trailer or poster, I can acknowledge that the makeup and hairstyling is far superior than anything I saw in Victoria and Abdul. It was good, but it's not awards worthy. Darkest Hour... Gary Oldman sat 9 hours in that makeup chair. Like that. Yeah. That is a transformation. But I have two movies that I'm kind of angry that they didn't make it to the list. Logan has some brilliant.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, violent makeup and really great, hair from everyone. And then of course, I'm going to throw... This is probably going to be the only section where I have this wild card.
Okay. Oh, you know what?
It. Right?
Okay, I would never would have thought of that, though, to be honest with you. Never would have thought of that. I just, like, I looked over that. It's like, I think of clowns, like, I think that's regular makeup, whatever, though, but I never really put my mind to, like, that for that particular category. That's not a bad choice.
I mean, hey, if Suicide Squad can get nominated, then it can get nominated. So sorry.
You know what? That's a great point.
Exactly. So. But no, like if you watch the behind the scenes of it, Bill Skarsgård, is sitting in his chair. They're putting actual layers on him. This isn't like some type of helmet. It's like they put a lot of time and effort on just the way he looked. And if you want to think about his hairstyling or even the kids' hairstyling to match that time era. I honestly thought that would make it into this category, but, whatever. But I do need to check out Wonder because I haven't heard a bad thing about it, even from people like Terence or other people I follow. Everyone seems to really like Wonder.
It's a really decent movie. It's a nice family film, too. It's like it's one of those movies that is really childish, but childish in a way where it's like for kids, but you won't, it's not like one of those adult movies where it's like, why do you do that? Why do you do that? But it's one of those movies that if you think of a mind of a kid, you enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel really bad that I missed it, but just like with Terrence, I got other movies to watch, and it's just slipped through the cracks. But this next one gives me a headache because all 5 of them are great choices. Best visual effects, we have Blade Runner 2049, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Kong Skull Island, Star Wars The Last Jedi, and War for the Planet of the Apes. I gotta be honest with you, Kong Skull Island was the surprise, but it's got good VFX, so I can't say it shouldn't be in there. This is tough because all 5 of these movies have spectacular visual effects, green screen work. But you know what, Terrence? I gotta go with my gut. I gotta go with the less spectacle one and more detailed one and more realistic one. I'm going for War for the Planet of the Apes. And that's my personal pick, but what's going to win, I think they're going to give this to Blade Runner.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I agree with you, too, with War for the Planet of the Apes. Like, the detail is spot on. And that's why, like, I kind of compare War for the Planet of the Apes to Kong Skull Island, too, because it's like the detail to the apes is, like, really, like, spot on to a T. But this category is pretty much Blade Runner 2049 is to win because it's amazing to look at. It kind of reminds too of like Gravity when that came out too, to that degree, where it's just like I didn't particularly care for the movie as much. We get into that a little later on, but it's amazing to look at. And like on a technical level, I got to give that to Blade Runner 2049. Like, look, this is a category that you can't go wrong with either choice of what win or what won't win, but wow, this is like, if you can get like a 5-way tie, that'd be great.
Like, can you imagine like just the whole stage of all 5 groups up there like trying to share an Oscar? Like what would the speech be like?
Like, okay, 5 seconds here, Blade Runner. King Kong Line, 5 seconds there. Bump. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, but
okay, you got 5 seconds. The monkey was really hard to create. All right, you got 5 seconds. Rocket Raccoon was hard to make. Star Wars, you got 5 seconds.
For real, man. For real. But yeah, like Blade Runner 2049 is great to look at. Honestly, it's like I honestly I can't go wrong with anyone, especially Kong Skull Island and War for the Planet of the Apes. Even though Kong and War for the Planet of the Apes were not the greatest of movies in my opinion, but visually they were great to look at.
So Blade Runner is your pick for what is probably going to win?
Yep, and will win. Yeah.
Cool. Is there? What do you think the dark horse is going to be? Because I actually think it could be Star Wars.
Oh, it's true. I'm going to go probably for War for the Planet of the Apes because
interesting.
Even though Skull Island was really good, but War for the Planet of the Apes had a lot more detail going for it. It was more intimate compared to Kong Skull Island. So I'm gonna, like, that can be my dark horse right there.
Okay. Hey, listen. So it's like Terrence said. It's like you're literally trying to pick apple, orange, banana, grapefruit, and melon. It's like pick a fruit. They're all fruit. Exactly. It's hard. So all right. Terrence, you got sound editing.
All right. So we got Baby Driver, Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and The Shape of Water. Now, this is. I mean, every year, I mean, we always go over it between sound editing, sound mixing. I always get confused by it, but then I think I finally got a hold of it. But with this one, this is kind of tough though because the sound editing for at least Blade Runner 2049 and Dunkirk was really like kind of like a tie for me, honestly. Shape of Water was great. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Whenever you have something like Star Wars and it's going to be nominated, but Baby Driver in there, it's kind of like out of all the categories. I mean, out of all the nominations, this could be like the weakest of the movies. But this is tough though. This is tough for me. I'm gonna probably go with Blade Runner 2049 because it's more organic compared to the ones we've seen. Maybe Star Wars can have a little like shot at it, but I think Blade Runner 2049 is more organic because it's something that when it comes to this category, it has to be something you never heard before. And then the 2049, that's what I got from it. So I'm gonna go with that with Willman and with Blade Runner 2049.
Interesting. I'm probably already going to be spoiling the sound mixing when I say this, but I think Dunkirk has got both of these categories in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should win, and I think it will win. Now, here's the kicker. So Terrence has got Blade Runner. I actually think Dunkirk has a 90% chance of winning both of these categories, but do you know what movie I'm going to pick for the 10%?
I mean, I got a feeling. Knowing you probably go for something out of this world. I'm gonna say you're gonna say Baby Driver.
Yep, I actually think Baby Driver has a small chance to win both of these categories, actually, as well as the next category we're about to talk about. So do not count this movie out, because that is one of the staples of an Edgar Wright movie, is the sound editing, mixing, and film editing in general. So it's tough because Terrence is right. I mean, they're all great picks, but Dunkirk is my pick. Blade Runner is his pick, so we'll be battling that out on March 4th. All right. So best film editing is next. We just got done talking about that. Baby Driver, Dunkirk, I, Tonya, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards. I, Tonya is a huge surprise, by the way. That just came out of nowhere, and I was like, I like I, Tonya quite a bit. It made my top 10, but best film editing out of everything? So, to be honest with you, I probably would take that one out. And as my own personal preference, I would either put Logan or Call Me By Your Name in there. But to be honest with you, I can't really knock it. It's a fast-paced, energetic movie. It deserves to be there in some right. So, and so is Baby Driver. They both kind of have the same energy a little bit. So that will be interesting. But for this one, I know it's bad, dude. Because here's where I'm leaning towards. I think just like the sound categories, Dunkirk has probably got the biggest chance, and I think it's got about an 80% pull on this, and I think The Shape of Water's got the 20%. So I think it's going to be Dunkirk, and to be quite honest with you, my personal favorite for editing is also Dunkirk. So it's a good tie between that and Baby Driver for me, but I think what the Academy will choose and probably give Dunkirk the only big win it's going to receive, I believe it's going to be this category, and The Shape of Water is the 20% dark horse.
I feel you on this one though, because like Dunkirk, the way it was edited, it was like spot on. Like the way it like entwined different stories at the same time. And it wasn't as confusing as people would think it would be, but it was like it flowed really nicely.
Yeah.
And like you said, Baby Driver, like I give a lot of respect to Baby Driver when it comes to this category too, because I was watching the special features, and he had to do some of the editing on site to match up with the music, to match up with the timing of the music when it comes to certain scenes and stuff like that. And to do that on site, like takes a lot of like balls to do, and because the way he edited, he had to match up the music with the scene, and
Yeah.
I do a lot of editing too when it comes to montage and stuff like that. That's not an easy thing to do,
No.
especially on site. So it's like you have to time it very correctly. So I mean, Dunkirk, like you said, is like the favorite for me, like just like yours to win it, and that's probably one of the major categories it will go for. But I don't knock out Baby Driver for the editing too. Like in I, Tonya, honestly, I think could be a dark horse because,
Mm.
like you said, because the way they float like Baby Driver and the fourth wall breaking and go entwine between stories and stories and after story, I think could be a dark horse for it to win. So I won't be surprised that it sneaks up and win this category though. But honestly, if Dunkirk wins, I'm happy for it. If Baby Driver wins, I'm even more happy for it. So I gotta go with Dunkirk for the win though.
Exactly. It's one of those things to where, like, if Dunkirk and or Baby Driver win, I'm not going to be upset. It's like, cool, awesome. But what's going to suck is because Terence and I always like to compete against each other to see who gets the most right. And so if we both pick Dunkirk and then they throw it to Baby Driver, we'll be like, well, we just got that wrong. So,
Yeah.
it is what it is, but there's nothing you can do about it. All right, so Terence, you got sound mixing.
All right, sound mixing. All right, so we got Baby Driver, Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and we got The Shape of Water. Now with this one, I think I would go with, I like that people like the movies in this category. I'm gonna go with Dunkirk because where we go? Am I right? Am I gonna go? Yeah, I'm gonna go for Dunkirk because the way, again, with the editing it did for moving the story along, but the way he edited the sound in between score and actual like guns flying and everything like that, I couldn't tell the difference, which is a great way to tell, like, say, wow, you can't tell the difference. Like, okay, that's kind of great editing for me. Blade Runner 2049, honestly, it can get up there though, because the way the sounds were mixed and everything, it was seamless, just like Dunkirk. But for me, Dunkirk had more of an edge to it because it was even more seamless to the fact that you couldn't tell which was which, especially with the score added with the live action to it. So it's like, I think Dunkirk did a little bit more better than Blade Runner 2049. So I'm gonna go with Dunkirk in this category.
So you would pick Dunkirk for mixing, and you would pick Blade Runner for sound editing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a very weird person, Chris. Chase.
yeah. Terrence likes to just live on the edge and just do what he wants. I respect that. I'm still going with what I said earlier. Dunkirk should win and probably will win. Now, the more I talk about it, the more I'm psyching myself out. We just said for these sound categories, don't count out Baby Driver. Also, don't count out Star Wars either, because that opening battle alone is really well done in the sound department. So, I don't know, man. They're throwing us a bunch of curveballs, and it sucks because now we had to eliminate which one is the least best one. It's like, okay, whatever. But I have a strong feeling that Dunkirk will win both of these categories because the way they mixed the actual warfare with dialogue and music, and those dogfights are some of the best ever captured on screen in terms of how the bullets are whizzing by you from left to right speaker. It's some impressive stuff, and that's the type of movie that I said this in my review, you need to see it in a theater. It is not a home experience unless you have a home theater, that's fine. But this is one of those you have to go to a theater for to really submerge yourself. So, I think Dunkirk has got these in the bag and has a strong chance for film editing. But, it's not going to go home short if it wins that. That's actually, quite impressive. This one, Best Achievement in Costume Design. Once again, they are just hitting us over the head with great picks. We have Beauty and the Beast, Darkest Hour, Phantom Thread, The Shape of Water, and Victoria and Abdul. Okay, so Terrence brought a good point when we were talking about production design with Beauty and the Beast. It's got a pretty good shot. And it might win, to be honest with you, or Darkest Hour. But if we're talking purely costumes, and it's not just because it's about a fashion designer, I think they're going to give it to Phantom Thread, all the way. Now, Shape of Water, I think it has like maybe an inkling to get in there, because believe it or not, besides Beauty and the Beast, because that is that's fiction. All of these movies take place in a different time period, and all of them nailed their time periods correctly. But The Shape of Water is unique in the fact that it's set in the 60s, but it also, highlights, a government facility, a theater, apartments, and it's so lavish and beautiful with just the way it looks and the way people are dressed. And so, I mean, my personal pick, what should win, is Phantom Thread, and that's not just because it's about a fashion designer. I actually do think every single dress in that movie or suit is so beautiful, and Paul Thomas Anderson, who actually shot the movie, really captured it really well, and it almost seemed like this dreamlike fantasy that he was trying to capture, and I thought he really kind of captured that whimsical nature of, making dresses and stuff, and just, I don't know, just so inviting and gorgeous. So I'm going with Phantom Thread, and what should win will win. I believe that this will probably be the only win Phantom Thread will get the entire night, which, Terence and I might like the movie a lot, but I don't think the Academy is going to like it that much, but I think this is the one it's got.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, though, with that. Like, I forgot to add it to my personal list of that, too, but I forgot to put it on. But, like you said, with the fashion design and everything, it's begging to win this category.
You kind of have to.
Yeah, so, I mean, even with Beauty and the Beast, too, it's like it nailed the costumes for that particular era, and particular subgenre for the movie. But see, too, what can be a dark horse for this one is like The Shape of Water. Now, granted, the costumes are not great, but when you add the factor of the monster in that movie, then you gotta like, that could be something to that too. So it's like, that could be a dark horse there. So, but honestly, like, I would go with Phantom Thread for the win and will win, because you ever have like costume design with that rich and essence of those costumes and dresses and everything, how can you not win? I mean,
yeah.
I'm saying, how can you not win that? Your
movie's basically set up to win costume design. I mean, it's one of those weird things where, like, if Terrence and I see a movie, we're like, oh, they're baiting for this category. It's like, no, this one's baiting for costume design, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, for real.
But, it is what it is. But, costume design, Phantom Thread, we are rooting for you. All right. Terrence has got a pretty good one with cinematography.
All right. So we got Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, and The Shape of Water. Now, with this category, I'm not mad at it, because all the cinematography, maybe aside from Mudbound, was pretty great. Darkest Hour was great. The lighting in that movie was fantastic. It had that little like faded cigarette type room where it's like, for its era, it's like very clouded but very clear at the same time, which is great for the essence of that time period, because it felt like everything was clouded in judgment. Which with the subject matter, you can feel this essence of that particular time period. Dunkirk, like when you think of cinematography, sometimes people think it's just automatically lighting, but it's more to that. The way the camera's positioned, the way you follow the characters around, and especially with a particular scene in the movie where they're in the bunker of a ship. That was fantastic in the essence too. Shape of Water could be like maybe one of the weakest of the categories, but I don't mind it that it's in there, because the cinematography in that movie is pretty decent. But honestly, it's a tie for me. I'm going to say this a lot tonight, so bear with me. It's a tie for me between Blade Runner 2049 and Dunkirk. But if I had a gun to my head, I would probably have to go with Blade Runner 2049, because Roger Deakins, you don't give awards for body of work, which I sneeze at, but unless they deserve it, but if Blade Runner 2049 does not win cinematography, then I don't know what. I mean, it's a great category to have, but Blade Runner 2049 has it for me. Because Deakins is just a great cinematographer. Now, all these other categories are great, but it has to go with the Blade Runner, honestly.
I will agree. I think this is finally going to be Deacon's win, hopefully. And here's where I'm kind of thinking otherwise with dark horses. I think Dunkirk has a 20 or okay, so I think Dunkirk has a 20% chance, and I think The Shape of Water has a 10% chance. But I think you're right. I think an 80% bet I'm going with Blade Runner 2049. Regardless of what you think of the story in that movie, which, I think is the weaker part of the movie. But visually, my God, Roger Deakins, once again, the guy never disappoints. Him and, I remember him and Emmanuel Lubezki were fighting it out at the Oscars for like 4 years in a row, and Emmanuel would always win. Now it's Deacon's turn. So step aside, everyone. It's Deacon's time. I'm just like with Terence. I don't really like awarding people for bodies of work. But you know what? Enough is enough, man. It's been 10 years. Every single time this guy comes out with the movie, he gets shut out. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of him not winning. So,
And too, it's like you said, like you don't award bodies of work. But if they've done it for this particular movie, you gotta give it to them. Credit's due is credit's due.
yeah, exactly. And, just like I was mentioning before, there's going to be a lot of groundbreaking stuff in these lists, and this is the first one. Mudbound is done by a woman cinematographer, which is awesome that you rarely ever see that. So, like I said, did not see Mudbound, but I can acknowledge having a woman being nominated is really awesome because you just don't see that. And like I said, trust me, it gets better with the whole surprising and change-ups and everything. So.
Yeah, and too, like you could have, I mean, this is a tight category too, but you also could have, like, say what you will about the movie, but you could have added like Mother to this character for cinematography, honestly, because the way they filmed that, where the camera like tracked, it was really pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ones that Call Me by Your Name, perfect cinematography, where every single shot feels like a warm postcard. Yet that didn't make it. Logan is shot like a really gritty Western. That could have been in there. And so cinematography is a tough one because there are a lot of great movies out there with wonderful cinematography. So limiting it down to 5 is just, it's impossible. But, to be honest with you, excluding Mudbound because I haven't seen it, these 4 aren't bad. I didn't really care for The Darkest Hour, but they had some pretty slick shot composition in that movie. So you know what? Whatever, I'll give it to him. Not my personal pick, but whatever. This also another groundbreaking thing. I cannot wait to actually say this after 28 years of living. So get this: best adapted screenplay: Call Me by Your Name, Molly's Game, Mudbound, The Disaster Artist, and here it is, folks. After so many years, a comic book movie has finally been nominated for screenplay. Logan, my boy, it's finally on the board. It's the only nomination, unfortunately. We'll get to that in just a second. But those are your 5. Okay, so here is where I lie with this.
Okay.
I think Molly's Game is out. I know people love Aaron Sorkin, and I do too, but that movie is poor. That is not a good movie at all. Yes, the script is sharp, but that doesn't make it good because the direction was poor. Mudbound, once again, I have not seen it. The Disaster Artist, the only nomination it got, and I'll get to Terrence's thoughts on best lead actor when we get there. But The Disaster Artist, don't sneeze at that one. Because that was a wonderful adaptation that had the right balance of comedy and heart. I want you to take the whole James Franco thing out of it for a second and concentrate on the category. The actual script is well done. Now, the 2 that actually have the best shots, Call Me by Your Name and Logan. Yes, I'm actually going to tell you right now, Logan actually has a chance of winning this. I'm going to say right now, it's a 60-40 split. Logan has the upper hand, and it has a 60% chance of winning, and Call Me by Your Name has the 40%. Because Call Me by Your Name, I still stand by this on what I said about the movie. It's a perfect movie. And one of those reasons is the script. Having these, authentic characters and this natural, realistic dialogue and just the natural progression of this romance. It was so fine-tuned that you can't find anything wrong with it. Logan, the only thing, majorly wrong I've always said about that movie is that the villains are a little weak. But other than that, when you talk about the actual character work between Logan and Professor X, it is absolutely heartbreaking and such a great finale to this character. I'm so glad that that's in here because this is huge for this genre. So those are my 2 picks. So now we have to do the coveted question, what should and what will win. Even with my 60-40 split, I'm hesitant right now. But I think Call Me By Your Name will probably win, but I think Logan should win.
Okay. Like I'm with you with this one, because in my personal 3 out of these movies are in my personal list, so it's gonna be kind of tough for me too. I would, like you said, Marley's Game. It was okay. I mean, the direction wasn't as good because it's Aaron Sorkin's first movie, and the script was to me okay compared to his other ones. I didn't feel the sharpness of it compared to his other movies. It's like what's that movie? The Steve Jobs movie,
Social Network.
And I didn't feel the sharpness. I didn't feel that to it.
Yeah.
So it's not one. It's like maybe you get like another director. Maybe it probably would have been better for it to be for the script. But I would actually like to have seen maybe like it come into this particular category because I think the script for that one is pretty decent compared to what they took out of the book. Because there's a lot of different things in that book that the movie took out, which for the better, to be honest with you. But Disaster Artist was great. Mudbound, I didn't even know honestly that was made from a book, so went over my head. But Call Me By Your Name and Logan, like you said, this is it's they go that word again, tie for me. But if I'm giving a slight edge, I love Call Me By Your Name for it flowed smoothly. Everything about it, like you said, it's perfect. Like everything, the dialogue. It's not one word of dialogue in that particular movie where I said, well, that could have been taken out. Or it's not one scene I said, that could have been taken out. Call You By Your Name is just like one of those movies that the script just flowed nicely. And Logan, what can I say? That movie, the script movie, like you said, I've never seen a comic book movie aside from The Dark Knight that flowed so good, that had great character development between all the characters aside from the villain. I love the journey of this particular movie from a hero trying to get back in the game, even if he didn't want to. So that movie and that Logan's been out. The character's been put on film since 2000, and nothing's ever been that good compared to this one. So it's like the script really flowed nicely. So to me, if I had to put it, I would say what should win would be Call You By Your Name, and what will win will be Call You By Your Name. If Logan wins, I'll slightly be disappointed because Call You By Your Name was my personal favorite, but I'd be happy for Logan because of what he did for the genre. But honestly, I think Call You By Your Name will and should win.
Interesting. You know what? I'm probably going to blink, to be honest with you, because I'm super competitive and I want to beat Terrence. I'll probably pick Logan just in spite of him, just to see if I can win. But no, he's probably correct. Call Me By Your Name's probably got this. All right. So, Terrence, you got Best Original Screenplay.
All right. So, this is a great category that I like. We got Shape of Water, Lady Bird, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and we got The Big Sick, and my personal favorite, we got Get Out. I this movie came out in March, and usually with me movies, it has to stick with me for a long time, and not a lot of movies can do that. Because a lot of times, sometimes you see other movies that are better and everything. Get Out stuck with me for a long time. Now, it's I think my 3rd or 4th personal favorite, but overall, that script was so original. I mean, I never would have saw anything coming. Usually, me and you, Chase, we watch a lot of movies, so it's nothing really that's going to surprise us. But for me, Get Out, kind of surprising for how the story went. I love this from beginning to end, and it's like one of those. As a black person, for me, it got the black culture the way you want it. Like, because some people think like, okay, people don't think like that, but people actually do think like that. Or it's like for me personally as a black man, it's like, wow, you get a little scary or you get a little hesitant when you like go to all white family or anything like that. And it got the essence of it. And with the where society is today, it hits it on the nail. And I gotta say, like, Get Out is my personal favorite for Will and should win. Now, The Big Sick for me is partially my dark horse favorite to come up and sneak out to win it. But honestly, Get Out for me is like hands down should win and will win.
Wow.
Because for me, because something you can relate to and it gets it on the nail. Not a lot of movies can do that. It's like certain things you can relate to, and when you get it on the point, it's not easily done. And Get Out pretty much did it for me.
That is interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna go out and just say it. I like all 5 of these picks. This is actually really hard for me because all 5 of these have their merits. Shape of Water, really great twist on the monster movie. Incorporating romance, fantasy, horror, sci-fi, comedy. It worked. Lady Bird is a great coming-of-age film that was it was sweet, it was relatable, and there were rich characters that we could see ourselves in. Now, Three Billboards. I have never ever seen a Martin McDonagh movie before this one. This was my first experience to his dark comedy style, and it was wonderful. Even if some of the characters were questionable, I still had a great time following their journeys, and that has to do with the script. The Big Sick from Kumail and his wife Emily. It's a wonderful romantic comedy. It's one of the funniest movies of the year. And now Get Out. So I don't think Terence and I have talked about this movie, which is interesting because I've been talking about it all year with my coworkers because I don't know if Terence knows this or if you guys listening know this. I'm the minority on where I work. I work with a lot of wonderful black people, and
wow.
yes,
didn't know that.
and so
Okay.
This was the movie of conversation for almost an entire year because I would always love to get their perspective on it. Because what Jordan Peele did was basically create this Black Mirror episode, which is ironic because Daniel Kaluuya was in a Black Mirror episode.
All right.
And what he made was a really energetic, rewatchable movie, by the way. I've only put 2 movies, maybe 3. The Big Sick, Logan, and Get Out are the most rewatchable movies of last year. I could watch Get Out over and over again, and it moves at such a swift pace because, like Terence said, you have no idea where it's going to go. And what Jordan was able to do was sneak in, all the, political statements he wanted to, all the, racial issues that he wanted to, and he spun it in such a horrific Twilight Zone Black Mirror kind of way that not only did it have something to say, but it was also entertaining as hell. And that has to, mean something. This is where we're going to differ, and it's not because I didn't enjoy Get Out, but Terence has known me long enough to where he already knows where I'm going with this. I like me a good dark comedy. Three Billboards is my personal favorite, but what's going to win, believe it or not, it's a 3-way tie between The Big Sick, Get Out, and Lady Bird. I believe those 3 actually have an equal shot of winning it. That's what's so hard about this year is that you have no idea which way they're going to go. So, but let's look at past Oscar ceremonies, Terence. The Big Sick is primarily a comedy, and Bridesmaids was nominated, and to be honest with you, The Big Sick probably won't win, but I can also see it sneaking in there and surprising the hell out of everyone.
Yeah.
Now, Lady Bird has a good chance. Greta Gerwig, is going to be pretty much on fire this entire ceremony, and she has a lot of great opportunities to win stuff. And then so does Jordan. And we're about to get to the next category, and you'll see what I mean. but it's probably the big stick is the dark horse, and it's going to be between Greta for Lady Bird and Jordan for Get Out. And my personal pick, because I am a sick person who loves dark comedies, I really enjoyed Three Billboards, which is really awkward for me to say because Terence is a black man and me as a white man. Terence is going with the one about racist, torturing black people. I'm going with the one with about a racist cop in a small town.
Wow.
So.
How ironic is that, though? Like, we couldn't have planned it. This is like really.
No, believe it. We don't talk about this stuff, guys. Like, this is this is all unscripted. But I'm totally with Terence. I've seen Get Out 3 times now. It's so fun. Like, I love that movie so much. Like, and you start to pick up on little things as you watch it, like little nuggets that Jordan put in his scripts. I was telling Joel, I was like, Joel, when you rewatch Get Out, look at what Allison Williams is doing on that bed at the end. And he was like, she's just eating cereal. I'm like, but what is the milk? It's white. The cereal is colored. She keeps them separate. That's totally what her character would do. And it's like, it ties in with the theme of the movie. So it's like, it's stuff like that is so smart about the movie. It's just little nuggets like that.
Wow, that's something I never thought about that too. Because I was looking at that same scene the other day, and what I noticed too behind her is like she has pictures of all her trophies that she got. So she's got like she got her other boyfriend, her other friend that she took and brainwashed them or whatever. And I never picked up the fact that the cereal and the milk. So I never picked that up. Now I'm gonna rewatch that again just to see that part. Because like you said, you see things differently when you watch it a couple more times though. But yeah. I was looking at something different in that scene. You picked up something else, which is wow. Okay. I said, you could have planned that out.
Exactly. I will give Terence credit though. Out of all 5 scripts, even though Get Out came out over a year ago, the sunken place scene is one of my favorite scenes of all last year. And that has to do with the script and the wonderful directing, which is great timing because best directing is up next. And my God, we have some game changers. So get this. We have basically no American white men.
Wow.
Isn't
yeah.
that crazy?
Look at that.
Well, wait, is Paul Thomas Anderson, is he British or?
I
don't think he is.
I don't think he's. Let me check right now.
All right, so Terence is going to do the research before I make an ass out of myself. All right, so best directing. It's a really good list. We have Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk. We have Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird. We have Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water. We have Jordan Peele for Get Out, and Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread. Terence, is he from here?
Yep. You know what? He's from Studio City, California.
Okay, so he is the only traditional vanilla pick, but everyone else is actually from a different country except for Greta and Jordan, but they're special because Greta is a woman, and that is rare, and Jordan Peele is a black gentleman. And what's interesting, Terence, when you do the research on this is the 90th Academy Awards, and they were saying that Greta Gerwig makes the 5th woman to ever be nominated for directing, and Jordan Peele makes the 5th black man, or even just black person in general, to be nominated. 100 years, Terence, almost 100 years of these ceremonies, and they're only number 5.
Like,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is, because like when you think about directors out there, you got Ava DuVernay that's out there who's just up and coming. But you think of like Catherine Bigelow, just to name one popular one. You know how many great movies she's done in the past? It's like, I mean, honestly, for me, she should have been in this category too for what she did with Detroit, in my personal opinion. Though. But wow, 90 years and only 5 women have been nominated, and like how many black men? Like
5.
Wow, 90.
So you can literally count the nominations on one hand out of 90 years.
That's wow. My mind is blown right now, to be honest with you.
But this is a good indication of how the future is going to be, because when I saw the nominations, I was quite shocked that Jordan and Greta both snuck in there.
Hmm.
Not because of Jordan is a black gentleman and Greta is a woman. It's because that first of all, Get Out's a genre pick, by the way, and I'm just shocked that it's nominated in general. But it just seems like to me that the Academy wants to show a little bit more diversity, and that's never a bad thing. So I'm actually really happy to see a nice just group of talented people in this category. Now, Terrence, here's where it gets tricky.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. I've expressed my love for Paul Thomas Anderson on this podcast before. I think he's a genius filmmaker, but he's got no shot in hell at this category.
Oh.
Guillermo del Toro is going to win this. However, here is my but though. My personal pick has been the same pick since July. Christopher Nolan. I think he directed that movie so masterfully, even if it has minimal dialogue. Because here's the deal: the director's first and most important job is to get the best performance out of the actors. That movie has little to no dialogue, but what Christopher had to do with just the actors was to get the exact facial expression to really make sure they felt the weight of war and really felt the terror and anxiety and adrenaline and everything that happens during war. You have to get that out of them even if they don't say anything. And on top of all that, he directed one of the best dogfighting scenes I've ever seen in a war movie. Like Terence said, with the sinking ship, that was well directed with some wonderful cinematography. That thing is on such an epic level. I don't know how he could not win this. Unfortunately, and this isn't really unfortunate because I like all five of these picks, Del Toro is going to probably win this since he has the momentum right now. But here's where it gets interesting. Greta Gerwig and Jordan Peele, do not count them out. Both of them are equal dark horses. Both of them. They both have a good shot at doing this, but I think Del Toro is probably going to win. But my personal pick is Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan. So, Terrence, I'm actually really curious. Which way are you swaying with this?
Okay, so with this one, right? This is probably one of for me the most controversial type things. That a lot of these picks that I see here are good, but they wasn't like my personal favorites. Honestly, like for me, I would have added take out Paul Thomas Anderson and put Luca Guadagnino from Call Me by Your Name in this category. I also would have took out I would also would have took out probably Greta Gerwig, but because like the reason why I picked Greta Gerwig out, even though because it felt like her movie. When I mean like she's just directing her life, which is great, but it wasn't something that I can connect to. But her directing was fine, but I'd probably also take out Guillermo del Toro and add probably Catherine Bigelow in Detroit because that movie is like fierce or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of them, a lot of these categories, a lot of people in this category I would have took out. And I love Nolan just like the best, like you do. And maybe if I watch it maybe a couple more times, I watched it at least like twice since I got it. Maybe he would be my favorite to like be in this category. But I didn't even have it in my personal favorites of the year. And the only person I have in my personal favorites in this category of the year was Jordan Peele.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, if you would have had maybe Edgar Wright in it, I would have went for Edgar Wright for Baby Drive. But honestly, for this particular category, I would have went with Jordan Peele because, like I said before about the movie Get Out, it's something that stuck with me. And it's not easy to do when you see a lot of movies for the entire year. But Get Out to stick with me, his direction, and then with that movie Get Out it could have been a gimmick.
It really could have. Yeah,
it could have. So it's like, could have been, but it wasn't. It's something that stuck in a lot of people's minds. Very authentic, very realistic, and very like organic for the fact that it got the culture that it was going for, and it didn't make a fool of itself. So for me, I gotta give it to Jordan Peele, and I love Christopher Nolan. I love Paul Thomas Anderson, and what he did for Fast and Furious, which is a very great movie. But I gotta go with Jordan Peele that should win. But what probably will win will be Guillermo del Toro because he's been on a run for the past couple of weeks with these award shows. Like I liked The Shape of Water, but I had a few problems with it as far as the script and directing goes. He's probably for me the weakest part of this category. Yes, I know, come at me, but I'm not the biggest fan of that movie. So it's like for me, Guillermo del Toro, what he did for that movie, there's a lot of issues I have with it for the fact that what the lead actors did with the monster and nobody having a problem with it could have been handled a little bit more better. But for me, my personal favorite would be Jordan Peele, and what will win would probably be Guillermo del Toro, with the dark horse being Christopher Nolan.
I mean, those aren't bad picks. That's what I'm saying. Like, this year is so competitive. It's actually frustrating because there were a lot of people I thought could have easily gotten, in this category. I would have probably done a James Mangold from Logan. I'm cool with that. And here's my out of bounds pick. Actually, I have two of them. One of them would be Sean Baker for the Florida Project, and the other one, I know a lot of people would probably love this, especially a couple people I know on Terence and I's Facebook friends list. I would actually consider the Safdie brothers from Good Time.
Yeah,
that was a really well directed movie. So I mean, but it's like we said, it's so competitive. It just hurts me that a lot of these people have to get shut out. But I can't deny that any of these five shouldn't be in here. I mean, that's just how good this year is. I mean, I have no issues with either one of these picks. But that will be interesting, Terrence, to see which way they sway. Because if Del Toro doesn't win it, it's anyone's game. Like it could be anyone for all we know. So and
then honestly too, because look, I like Dunkirk. It's a great movie. It's like in my top 5 of the year. But when you think of a Christopher Nolan movie, it's one of the simplest movies out there. So I mean, you don't want to go off a body of work, which is very limited in his direction. He only has 8 movies, but it's a great movie. But it's like, can I put him? Is it best? It's like award-winning directing when it comes to that. I can say yes, but I can also say no at the same time too. So which also makes it really tough to pick a winner for this category.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan has made a lot of great movies, and if you want me to pin a Best Director or Oscar for a specific movie, it's not even actually this one. I wish he would have got it for maybe an Inception or Memento or something. Those are. Yeah. I agree with Terrence. They're more worthy, but creating the illusion of war is not easy, and I just think that bringing that element to it just works for me. And but Get Out's a good pick too. So my brain hurts.
You kind of convinced me too with Dunkirk too, because the more you talk about Dunkirk and Christopher Nolan, it's kind of sliding me into putting them in my personal favorites too. So it's you make great points too, because like you said, it's not easy filming a war movie. You got so many different people in it. You gotta be organized with it, and also the editing of it too as well. And like you said, it's no dialogue. So you gotta get that emotional essence in facial expressions, which he had it with Tom Hardy and the lead actor too. So it's that gets kudos for it too. So it's hard not to have him in there. And it's the more you talk about it, it's kind of more persuading me to put him in there as being as my dark horse to win it. But it's tough. It's tough, honestly. So it's you should be a lawyer. And
here's what's going to happen. It's literally going to be the night of Terrence and I are going to get on Skype and we're going to be like, all right, Terrence, what do you got for directing? You still going with Jordan Peele? And then he's going to ask me if I'm still going with Christopher Nolan. And then he's going to be like, no, I'm going with Nolan. And I'll be like, oh, shit, I'm going with Peele. It's we switched minds. That's what's going to happen. And also, this is really funny that Jordan Peele, one of the funniest dudes ever, is now an Oscar nominee. Just let that sink in for a second. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. All right, Terrence, you got best performance by an actress in a supporting role.
All right. So we got Allison Janney, we got Leslie Manville, Octavia Spencer, Laurie Metcalf, and we got Mary J. Blige. Now with this category, I'm kind of like pleasantly surprised with some of these people that I've selected. Now it's hard for me to Mary J. Blige though because I'm trying to figure was she good in the role or did I like her in the role because she looked like Whoopi Goldberg in the movie? Because like that's really odd for me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, because in the movie she really looked like Whoopi Goldberg from some other movie though. That's crazy. I don't know, but she did really great in the category in the movie. Octavia Spencer, I probably would have added her into this category. I mean, it's a fine performance, it's a good performance, but is it Oscar worthy enough for me to have it in this category? And in my opinion, probably not. Laurie Metcalf, she was good. She was really good, but she didn't have enough screen time for me, or not even screen time, more of a impact the way I wanted her to, for her to be like, maybe she could have been nominated, but for her to win it, I probably would have needed a little bit more out of her. Now, Leslie Manville was probably like a dark horse that I did not see coming. She was really great in Phantom Thread, so I can't deny on that. But the leading horse in this race is Allison Janney, hands down, because she was great in this movie. Like, nothing about her performance was like lackluster. And she's always been great in her career. Like, I think going back a few years ago, she should have been kind of like nominated for the Way, Way Back. And I recently watched that movie, and she is great in that movie, along with Sam Rockwell, which we get to later though. But Allison Janney in this movie, what she had to do in this movie was great because where I heard when you talk about all the interviews that she did, she had maybe like one video, maybe like a 5-minute video or whatever, to go off of Tanya Harding's mother, which is not a lot to go off. So everything, she had to pretty much take her role, create something out of it from something that's small as a pencil and make something great out of it. And she did it. And she, honestly, this is her war to lose. So, I mean, if anybody that may sneak up and take the award away from her, it'd probably be Laurie Metcalf from Lady Bird. But other than that, this is Allison Janney's role to win, pretty much.
I totally agree. The first ever Oscars that Terence and I covered, it was our first or second. Well, if it came out in 2014, that means the ceremony was... Okay, so our second one, it was the same situation when J.K. Simmons was nominated. And we're like, he's a lock. I don't even want to talk about it. Like, that man's got it. It's the same way with this one. Allison Janney's got this in the bag. Like, she should win. She will win. Like I said, I can't comment on Mary J. Blige and Mudbound. But, Laurie Metcalf was good in Lady Bird. Leslie Manville, like you said, was a huge surprise. I didn't realize that she would get nominated. And she's one of the only decent people in that movie. So, I mean, she's kind of the heartbeat of the movie. So that makes sense. I agree with you, though. I would take out Octavia Spencer. I love that woman to death, but, I mean, she was good in the movie, but, like, she's not award-worthy. And, she's already got an Oscar. I would, give it to someone or nominate someone else. And here's the person I'm going to throw at you, Terence. How do you feel about a Daphne Keane from Logan?
You know what? I don't know. Wow. That's really outside the box right there.
Because she delivered a physical role, with the claws and the action sequences, and she delivered an emotional role, with all the powerful stuff she had to do in the middle of the movie and at the end of the movie when she's facing, some pretty harsh stuff as a kid. So that's why I felt like she captured the essence of both worlds, where like she was physically capable and she was emotionally capable and she was a kid. Like, it's just, it was crazy.
You know what? I have to really let that marinate, honestly, because I never really thought of her. I thought she was good in the role. Mm-hmm. It's like, to be Oscar-worthy nominated, it's like, wow. I had to really let that marinate. But you know what? I give you Daphne Keane, and I raise you Bria Vitale from the Florida Project. Yeah.
Never mind. My option's good, but your option's better. I totally forgot about her. Like, she was so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was so good. Like, a mark of a character is either you really love them or you really hate them. Like, I hated her character in this movie. I mean, she tried to do what she do to survive, but she did really some despicable things in that movie. And it's like,
Like
wow,
she was more childish than her actual child.
exactly. And I looked at her IMDb page, and it's like I think she only has one acting credit, which is this movie.
Oh
So
wow.
for her to be like first time acting, and give this type of performance, it's like that's pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like when we get into this next category, the Florida Project's only got one nomination in general, but I actually thought she was the better performance in the entire movie, even more than Brooklyn Prince, her daughter in the movie.
Hmm.
I just thought that mother, she she really towed that line the entire movie, where like she was just so unlikable. Like how on
Yeah.
earth can we follow this? But at the same time, I get why she's so abrasive and so ugly towards people, because you're right. She's just someone trying to survive, and people keep spitting on her and putting her down, and she makes mistakes and she regrets stuff. Like she's a lot more complex than just like that
Yeah.
kind of nasty character, and I think that's what made that performance so special. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to talk about this. Allison Janney, good luck. You're going to be holding that Oscar in about a month and a half. So, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
this one, you know how I said I didn't see Mudbound? I
Mhm.
am guilty of also not seeing All the Money in the World. So
Okay.
Terence has seen it, so he can actually comment on if this is valid or not. But this is the best performance by an actor in a supporting role. We have Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World. We have Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water. We have Sam Rockwell for Three Billboards. We have Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project. And we have Woody Harrelson for Three Billboards as well. Once again, just like with Allison Janney, I think Sam Rockwell has got this in the bag.
Mhm.
And to be quite frank with you, he should win it as my personal pick, and he will win it as the Academy pick. Now, here's the kicker, and I don't know if Terrence is going to agree with me on this. I haven't seen All the Money in the World, so I can't comment on that one. But I would take out Woody Harrelson. He does a great job in the movie, but it's more about Sam and Francis. I would take
Mhm.
Woody out, and once again, I'm going to go back to this movie. I'm putting Patrick Stewart in there for Logan. That was
Okay.
one of the best performances Patrick Stewart has given in quite some time, and he really found the just what it meant to be Charles Xavier, and it really kind of blew me away. Just not with just the movie in general, but like the way Hugh Jackman took his role, or Patrick Stewart took his role. Everyone brought their A game so much that it kind of floored me that Patrick Stewart was brought 110% to this role when he's been playing it for 17 years, just like Hugh Jackman. So I would take out Woody and put in Patrick Stewart, but just like the other one, Sam Rockwell's got this in the bag, and I love his performance. Like, that character is one of the most complex characters of the year. It's definitely got one of the best arcs of the year. It's one of the most controversial characters of the year because of the arc. But Sam Rockwell's been in the business for so long that he should have won years ago. He should have been nominated for Moon back in 2009. So that's what
Yes.
I'm telling you. So
Yes.
I mean, he's been killing it for his whole entire career, but he's finally going to win his Oscar. That's amazing. So Terrence, before you and as far as the other ones go, Willem Dafoe, great in that movie. He shoos away a Roy Moore in that movie, which was one of the best things ever. There was my political low blow for the night. And then Richard Jenkins does a really great job as Sally Hawkins' gay neighbor in the movie. Just a very very human performance, and that was something kind of different from Richard Jenkins as well. So Terrence, before you get to your picks, I want you to lay it out on the line, because Joel and I did not review this movie, which means he could not tell me his thoughts. I mean, he told me briefly, but you have actually seen this. Is this nomination a straight up FU to Spacey, or is it actually a warranted nomination?
Okay, to me, I say it's a warranted nomination. And the reason why I say it is because even we can say also FU to Kevin Spacey too, because when you come in last minute to give a performance, which is not easy. I mean, because I heard Ridley Scott originally wanted Christopher Plummer for the movie. So when he got rid of Kevin Spacey, he had to come in last minute. And for somebody his age or whatever, he kind of nailed the part. He was great in the movie. I consider it like a Michael Jordan type-esque performance where he comes in the clutch because what he had to do in that movie in a short period of time, it kind of reminded me of what Naomi Harris did for Moonlight, shooting in a weekend. Now, I don't know how long did he sit. I don't know how long he had to film, but to come in last minute and also still to have the movie come out on time, which means you kind of have to rush through all the scenes. And to still get that type of performance that came so naturalistic to his role, I think it's kind of worthy of it. Now, a lot of people may not agree with it, but honestly, I think Christopher Plummer definitely deserved this nomination. But just because he came in clutch and it being so good. Because when you come in last minute, when you do things last minute, things don't usually plan out well. But this one did. And I honestly say that he deserved it, honestly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so what are your thoughts on this whole category then?
Okay, so this category, like I'm kind of suspect on this category to a degree because this is not like one of my favorite categories. Like I like Christopher Plummer, I like Richard Jenkins in it. Sam Rockwell, like you said, an amazing actor, but this is not one of my favorite performances of his. Like I said, he was great in Moon, like you said. The way back, he should have been nominated for it. Probably should have won for that role too. Willem Dafoe, his performance is fine. It's very subdued. It's not one of those movies. It's not one of those performances where it's like amazing because I didn't pick anything that's subtle about it. Even though it's like one of those subdued roles, I didn't see anything where it's like I have to nominate him for his subtlety for it. I didn't see that. And like you said, Woody Harrelson, he was okay. He was okay. I mean, I wouldn't have nominated him for this role. I mean, honestly, this category, I probably would have added a lot more other people. I would have added like Bryan Cranston for The Last Flag Flying. I mean, it's probably mixed bag because you could have considered him like lead, co-lead, or somewhat supporting that movie. Also, too, I would have probably added Armie Hammer in this role because like his performance is more subtle. His performance it's like Willem Dafoe, but the way he acted in that movie, he had a lot more to do with Willem Dafoe than he had a lot more to do than Willem Dafoe. So I would have added him into that too. And then also my dark horse too is Will Poulter in Detroit. So
yes,
yeah. So it's like a lot of people I would have took out for this category too, just for my personal taste. But if I had to go with anybody in this category, I would say my personal favorite would be Christopher Plummer, with not a dark horse, but a second runner up would be Richard Jenkins in The Shape of Water. But what will win is Sam Rockwell. But what should win for me is two-way tie between Christopher Plummer and Richard Jenkins.
Man, that's such a great pick with Detroit because I remember watching that movie and going, first of all, Will Poulter would have made a great Pennywise from that performance. Mm-hmm. And second of all, he was so terrifying in Detroit, it completely erases anything you thought of him in We're the Millers and that kind of goofy kid character. Now he's like this terrifying police, committing the most heinous acts of brutality, and you believe it. Like it was, I thought he was injuring the actors in the movie. I was like, Will, stop hitting these people and stop forcing your other, lapdogs to, beat these people. It's like, stop it. But that's how convincing he was. So I'm totally with you. Detroit's a great movie. I don't care what anyone says. And that thing got shut out across the board. So if it would have gotten anything, it should have at least gotten him this. And I'm told.
Yeah, take out Woody Harrelson for that. I mean, at least. So
yeah, I mean, Woody Harrelson could easily be taken out and replaced with any one of our picks. So yeah, I love me some Woody Harrelson, but yeah, it's just, I mean, Sam and Francis are better in that movie. So, and speaking of Francis, Terence, best performance by an actress in a leading role.
All right, we got Frances McDormand, Margot Robbie, Meryl Streep, Sally Hawkins, and Saoirse Ronan. Now, this is going to be something. This is going to like corner breaking news, but I'm not going to go with Frances McDormand as winning this. For me, my personal favorite. Like she was good in the role, but for me in the movie, I felt that the way the movie played out, she didn't have enough to do. I know the emotional weight of the movie of losing her daughter was there, but there are certain scenes in it where it's like I didn't felt that it was enough for her, and then in the scenes that she was in, I didn't get that to it where it's like she can win the best be nominated, well at least be nominated, but I don't think she gave enough for me of a performance for me to actually win the role for me. And that's more of the script in itself, not more of her acting. But I just wanted more out of her performance for some reason. It just didn't give it for me. Margot Robbie, her best performance of her career. She was great in The Wolf of Wall Street. She was great in Suicide Squad. Performance of her career. I saw something in her that I haven't seen in her in a long time, but she gave something a truly special performance in it. Like she had details of the emotional weight of the movie. There's one scene where she's putting the makeup on, and you can tell like she put so much passion and force into that one scene that it's like wow, wow. And then I also heard she had to do practice skating too as well. So it's like you can add that to the factor as well. And then that's pretty much her best performance of her career. Saoirse Ronan in this role is good, but the only knock for her for me is the fact that she's acting like Greta Gerwig, which I get, but I can't really say, okay, nominate her because of that. Sally Hawkins, she was good, but for me, what held it back too was the fact that of course, the woman was mute, so she couldn't talk. Which, okay, what does that have to do with anything? Because Leo did it kind of last year, so it's proving that it can't be done. You can give a power performance without talking. But for me, Sally Hawkins really didn't do it for me in this movie where her not talking wasn't powerful enough for me. So, but people are going to hate me for saying it, though, but I really love Meryl Streep in The Post. Say what you will about the movie, which I thought it was really good. But her performance in the movie was really, like, graceful. Like, I'm starting to think that we really don't deserve Meryl Streep. When you think of her list of roles that she's done and how you look at her in interviews, she can really transform into roles. And honestly, there's a scene in this movie that really, like, put me over the top for her as, like, winning this award. That's put it as my personal favorite for this award because it's a scene in a dining room where her character is very timid throughout the whole movie. But this movie in the dining room where it's like she really stuck up for herself and said, you know what? Boom, we're going for it. Meryl Streep gave it like a very subdued performance, but it's a very graceful performance where I liked it. It's something about her performance that I really, truly like. For me, that's my personal favorite. And for a dark horse, it'd be Margot Robbie taking it. But as all the award shows are going on, Frances McDormand is probably going to take it. But for me, my personal pick would be Meryl Streep as should win, but will win would be Frances McDormand.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm weird, Chase. I know,
but that's okay. We're both weird people. You know, I gave The Post a pretty high grade, and I do think it's a really great movie. And at first glance, I was like, Meryl Streep shouldn't be in this, but Terence kind of swayed me where it's like, you're right, it's not like a boisterous performance. It's very graceful and very elegant, but also stings when it needs to. Like one of the best scenes in the movie is when she's basically talking down to all of her, other executives on her board, and they're all men, and they try to be sexist and shit, and she's like, I ain't having any of that. Shut up. And it's like, it's just scenes like that really strike a chord with you, but she doesn't do it in like this loud manner. She does it in just such a powerful, graceful way. You're like, okay, I like that. However, the other four, I do think are slightly better than her. Saoirse Ronan, I like the movie quite a bit. I still stand by my A+, but I agree with Terence. When you're competing with these other wonderful women in this category, you're automatically out. Sally Hawkins. I love The Shape of Water. Didn't make my top 10, but I still love it. what Sally Hawkins has to do, essentially, play a mute, excluding one scene where she might or, may not have a line of dialogue. She plays a mute, and that is hard to convey in a very authentic manner. She does a great job. Here's where I'm going to shock people. Frances McDormand in 3 Billboards is amazing to watch. I loved watching her character just go throughout the story, kind of cut through it, and be this woman who ain't taking no shit from anybody. I love that. She was such a strong character in that movie. And I love 3 Billboards. She's probably going to win it. She will win this. However, who should and who actually has a pretty good dark horse chance, I'm going Margot Robbie with I, Tonya. I actually enjoy that movie so much. The more I think about it, the more I enjoy the way she handled this, Tonya Harding. I realize that Tonya Harding is a very controversial person, but the way Margot Robbie approached her, it was entertaining, but also complex with the relationship with her mother. Also, emotional when it had to be, funny when it had to be. Like she had some pretty great comedic timing. I just thought Margot Robbie had the better overall package than any of the other women in this category. So she is my will win, or she's my should win, and she actually has a good dark horse chance. But Frances McDormand will probably win this. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying that I think Margot Robbie kind of just overtakes this one for me. And I also forgot this for Best Supporting Actor. I know that Margot Robbie's getting the spotlight, but Sebastian Stan did a wonderful job in that movie, by the way. So, yeah. And what's really great about this nomination for Margot Robbie, people tend to forget she's around the same age as Terence and I in that age group. She's still young. So the fact that, she got this nomination is going to really help her career out. Saoirse Ronan's been nominated 3 times, and she's younger than her. So she will get her due eventually. But this is big for both of them. Meryl Streep, this is like her 100th nomination, so she'll be fine. Sally Hawkins, you don't hear much about her, so that's really great. And then Frances McDormand is just a legend in this industry, so that doesn't surprise me. So Margot Robbie is actually my pick, but Frances McDormand will probably win it. So there is that. Now this
I'll be happy if Margot Robbie win though.
Yeah, I mean, if Margot Robbie wins it, that's gonna. The nomination was already big enough for her career, but if she wins it, that's gonna change her career, indefinitely. And that the fact that Suicide Squad will be attached to an Oscar nominee now, let alone possibly an Oscar winner, it's just baffling. All right. So here we go. Best performance by an actor in a lead role, and then Terence will end the podcast with the coveted 9 Best Picture spots. But before we get there, this is the biggest surprising one out of all of them, I believe. So Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Gary Oldman for The Darkest Hour, Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire. Who saw that movie? And Timothée Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name. And I cannot believe, this is a good thing, but I'm still in shock that a genre movie has a Best Actor nominee in it with Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out. What the hell is happening? Listen, that's a great pick. I didn't think they'd ever do it, but he got it. So I have a couple things. One, I'm a little disappointed that Timothy's last name is not pronounced Chalamet. That way it could be Oscar nominee Timothée Chalamet. So I'm a little disappointed in that. And second thing, it's unfortunate that I have to say this. Gary Oldman is the best part in Darkest Hour. Everything else around it is fine at best, with a couple exceptions with the production design and costuming and stuff. He is the best part about that movie, and what's frustrating about this category is he's going to win this when he shouldn't. I'm not saying Gary Oldman doesn't deserve an Oscar at this point, because the man has been in hit after hit after hit where it's just like the guy is so good and such a chameleon where he could play a good guy and a bad guy. I believe it. But here is where the issue lies, folks. Timothée Chalamet, Daniel Kaluuya, and Daniel Day-Lewis, because I haven't seen Roman J. Israel, so take that off the table for me. All three of them are way better than Gary Oldman. He was great in the movie, and he is the only reason why The Darkest Hour is anywhere close to even giving it a high grade.
Mm-hmm.
But it just frustrates me that Timothée Chalamet, now granted he is still young, he will get nominated again, but that doesn't excuse the fact that not only was Timothy's performance good in that movie, but that final shot should have been the nail in the coffin for that award. Because that was one of the best final shots to any movie I saw last year. And it just pains me to know that Gary Oldman's going to walk away with this, but Timothée Chalamet should get this. And that's where I stand on this. I think Timothy should get it. Gary, unfortunately, is going to win it. And my dark horse pick, I was going to go with Daniel Kaluuya because I really like that performance. But believe it or not, I would probably go with Daniel Day-Lewis. And it's not just because this is his last performance. It's because it's a subtly different performance than what he's given. But I think it works for that character, and he just embodies that fashion designer and someone of that creative passion. So Daniel's my dark horse. Daniel Day-Lewis, because I just realized there's two Daniels here. Timothée Chalamet should win, but unfortunately, Gary Oldman will win. And people are going to twist my words. That is not a knock on Gary Oldman. As a person or an actor, that man is a talent. He is a legend for a reason. But unfortunately, people are going to be giving that award to him partially. I'm not saying all of it, partially because he hasn't really won one. They just want to give it to him and get it out of the way. It was a great performance, and the only good thing about that movie, but Timothée Chalamet, man, that last shot will pain your soul till the moment you leave the theater. And it's whatever. So, going to Denzel Washington. Now, Terence and I have been covering, these ceremonies for, 4 years now, and we love Denzel. But let's be honest, I didn't see the movie. Not many people saw the movie. I don't even know if Terence saw the movie, so, it's like, I get it. Denzel's an icon like Meryl Streep, but I would have honestly swapped, and that's only because I haven't seen it, so that's not fair to Denzel, but I probably would swap him out and put Hugh Jackman in there for Logan. I've said this from the get-go that I thought Logan was set up for a Hugh Jackman nomination. I'm glad that it got something with screenplay, but Hugh Jackman should be in here somewhere. And I can't kick Denzel out because that's not fair to him, so I don't know who you would kick out, but I really wish Hugh Jackman would have been in there. But this one is amazing for several reasons, one of which Daniel Kaluuya getting it for Get Out. It's not just because he's a black man, it's because it's a genre picture, and that's just absolutely shocking to me in a good way that would be in there. But yeah, this whole thing is just ass backwards. So I'm assuming since Terrence shook his head, he feels the exact same freaking way.
Dude, you just took every single word out of my mouth right now. Literally. Aside from who you picked from Denzel Washington, everything you said was pretty much spot on, honestly. Like, Timothée Chalamet is like, he was like amazing in that movie. And it's like you said, that last scene, like I always found it interesting or very like ideal when an actor can just cry on cue, which is not easy to do. But Tennant is probably like that. But to cry that long ending scene is like, wow. Spoiler alert, I know if you haven't seen it. But that ending scene just like you said, sunk me. Like, Gary Oldman, good performance. He's like you said, it's the best thing about that movie. Because honestly, that movie is like, it was okay. Now, if you take Gary Oldman out of Darkest Hour, it's not getting any type of award nominations or anything or any recognition. But it's only because of Gary Oldman that that movie's getting some type of love. And like you said, like this man, he's been around the business for years. And I'm not the biggest fan about giving people the body of work. He says you have to earn it. Now, he probably would have been good to be earned it if, to get nominated. But compared to the other ones in this category, it should be Timothy's hands down. Because you know what? Timothy had to do a lot more compared to Gary Oldman had to do. When you think of the subject of what Timothy had to do compared to Gary Oldman, a lot more difficulty. It's not easy to do that type of role. Um, yes, I did see Denzel Washington and Roman J. Israel. You don't worry, Chase. You're doing yourself a favor of not seeing the movie. The movie is not good. Not good.
Wow.
And then it's not. I mean, look. Usually a movie for me, when Denzel Washington's in it, he usually elevates the movie. Even when it comes to that one, that Western he did, not even that Western, the Equalizer he did. The movie was okay, but we pumped up my score for that movie because of Denzel Washington's performance. With Roman J. Israel, I didn't have that. It's not one of your big Denzel Washington type of roles. He easily could have been swiped out for somebody else. He probably could have added James Franco into it, even though he has a little bit of controversy. Probably could have added, maybe this is my thinking, outside the box course, where you can probably add Ansel Elgort for Baby Driver in this role, in that category too. I love Denzel, one of my favorite actors of all time, but he should not be in this list, honestly. Daniel Day-Lewis. What can you say about Daniel Day-Lewis? A great actor. I love him in this movie. He gives a very different role, plays a very different performance in this movie, which is a great performance. He's not one of my personal favorites, but I don't mind him in it because it's his last movie. He was great in the role. Loved it. Now, like you said, Danny Kaluuya, I'm surprised, and I mean pleasantly surprised. I'm glad that he's in this category. It's like I would never have seen that particular. I would never see him coming as far as being nominated for this particular role, like you said, because it's a genre film. Let alone genre films don't get remembered when it comes out in March, but he gets nominated for that particular role. I mean, kudos to him. So I'm glad that he's probably in it. And even though he's probably not going to win, but just to have the fact that being an Oscar-nominated actor to your name goes a long way. That means he's going to get a lot more roles than you can even imagine. But like you said, what I want to win and what should win should be Timothy Chalamet for Calling You by Your Name. What he had to do in that movie is amazing, a revelation. And for somebody of that age to give a performance like that, out of his world. And Gary Oldman, he's fine. He's great in the movie. And you can't give a person Oscar just because he didn't get one years past. You have to earn it in the category of that year. And honestly, Gary Oldman did not earn it this year. He was good in it, but compared to all the other people in this category, he comes third or even fourth behind Daniel Day-Lewis and Daniel Kaluuya, honestly. And people are going to hate me for it, but I don't care. You hate me for it, but I'm going to be honest about it. And that's what I got to say. It should be Timothy Chalamet, but Gary Oldman's going to win it.
Yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate things. And, for all those people out there that are saying Daniel Kaluuya shouldn't be in there, I want to emphasize that I actually saw that Black Mirror episode before Get Out even came out. And even then when I saw that episode, I was like, who is this guy? Because he's so good. And so, like, he is the real deal, folks. Like, this guy is going to be around for a very, very long time. And he's probably going to get nominated even more in the future because he's just that good. Like Terence and I said, we're both just more shocked that they chose a genre picture than anything. Like, that's what's crazy. Now, I'm going to throw another wild card at you. I kind of wish, because I already, said that Hugh Jackman should have been there. But what do you think about, because I actually thought he had a good chance, Robert Pattinson for Good Time.
See, I have a thing with that movie too. It's like, I can see him getting nominated, but I think like for me, with like just like with Francis McDermott, I need a little bit more out of him for me to say, nominate him. But he did a better job than Francis McDermott. But yeah, he did a lot more better job than because he showed me a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
He's one of those actors that from the Twilight series, along with Kristen Stewart, can really branch out and be his own actor. Um, I'm not mad at that. Like if I would have seen him in the category, I would not have snubbed it. I would not have argued with you on that one. To be honest with you.
Well, it's just one of those categories. It's like we've been saying. It's such a tough year. It's just you can't put everyone in, and unfortunately, you got to cut people out. But guys, this is it. This is the last category. And Terrence, buddy, what are the nominees for the Best Picture of the year?
All right, here we go. We got Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, The Shape of Water, The Post, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, Dunkirk, Get Out, Darkest Hour, and Call Me by Your Name. Now, I like this category, this list of movies that we have in here. Most of these movies, I can say, maybe like six of them, I thoroughly enjoy, but more than others. Personally, my personal favorite is Call Me by Your Name. I love that movie hands down. It's one of those movies that if you don't like this movie, then you have no soul. Honestly, you really have no soul. Your soul is black. Honestly, your soul is in a sucking place. Honestly,
I think we said the same thing last year about Moonlight. If you hated that movie, it's like you have no soul either.
yeah, exactly. This one with this category, I think it's a pretty decent list. Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I'm probably like in the minority. I didn't love it as much as everybody. I felt like the script could have been a lot better than that we got. And like you say, you haven't saw a Neil McDonough movie, but I think it's a lot more movies in his filmography that's a lot more better than Three Billboards, like In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths. So I think I wouldn't probably have replaced it with anything, but I don't think it has a. For me personally, I don't think it has a chance of winning it. Honestly, Lady Bird was okay. I liked the movie, but the ending was kind of like fell off for me a little bit, where it didn't really. It made sense, but it didn't have that little ending that you need to make it like a great movie. The Post, I liked. I probably would have taken The Post out. It's a great movie, but I don't think it's one of those boom Oscar-winning movies where it's like, oh, has to be an Oscar-nominated movie. It's a great movie for what it talks about women and how they talk about encouragement, empowerment, stuff like that. It has a great message. But for it to be an Oscar-nominated film, I probably wouldn't have put it in there. Phantom Thread, I can see it being in there because it's a very unique type movie. Where it has gone for it. Darkest Hour has no chance of should be in this movie. I don't know why it's in there. It's like a stepchild that you only visit on Christmas. Really, honest. Get Out. I'm happy that it got it. Like it's my third or fourth favorite movie of the year. I'm proud of that movie. Dunkirk, even though it may not be Christopher Nolan's best movie in his filmography, but with the movies we got this year, it definitely deserves to be in this category. But for me, Call Me by Your Name should win, but knowing how these awards shows are going, it's probably going to be The Shape of Water. And don't get me wrong, The Shape of Water is a nicely made movie, but to me, it felt very, I don't want to say generic because that's kind of like a strong word, but it felt like very like simple to the fact. It didn't have anything that, because to me with movies, you gotta have layers. And Call You by Your Name and Dunkirk and Get Out and all the other ones aside from maybe The Darkest Hour had layers to the movie. The Shape of Water to me maybe had like one layer about love, but other than that, it wasn't a movie that spoke to me compared to what Call You by Your Name did, what Dunkirk did, or anything. But it's a fine movie, but I don't think it's a movie that should be won as an Oscar for Best Picture. It should be Call You by Your Name. But what's going to win, because I kind of consider this as like the Gary Oldman category for the fact that it's a shame that Shape of Water will win, but because Call You by Your Name is a great movie, but it shouldn't win it. But it's like at this moment I'm rambling on, but Shape of Water will win it, but what should win is Call You by Your Name with a dark horse from Dunkirk.
Interesting. I didn't really think about the whole Dunkirk being a dark horse pick, but I mean, it has a chance just like everyone else. I think as of right now, my mind might be changed in a month, but Call Me by Your Name is my personal pick. It's very close between that, Phantom Thread, and Three Billboards. But yeah, I think I'm comfortable with saying Call Me by Your Name is my personal pick. What will win? I'm on the opposite, Terence. I think that they're going to award Shape of Water in directing and then give Best Picture to someone else.
Okay.
So I think with the momentum of Three Billboards, it has, I would say, a 70% chance of winning. Call Me by Your Name has, I'd say, like a 10%. But here's where I'm going to get a little tricky. So get this. I have 20% remaining. I can't decide. Shape of Water does have a small chance, but I think in the way the Oscars have done in the past, they're probably going to award Del Toro with the directing and then give Best Picture to someone else. So, there's a 20% chance that either Lady Bird or I'm actually going to put Get Out as a small chance. As a 10% chance. It has a shot. Don't count it out. It'd be amazing if a genre picture won. But I think it still has to compete with Lady Bird, Three Billboards, and Call Me by Your Name. So that's where I'm kind of at right now. Call Me by Your Name is my personal pick. Three Billboards has the best chance at winning it from the Academy, with Lady Bird and Get Out being a split dark horse for me. Here's my thoughts quickly on Darkest Hour and The Post. Get those out. Darkest Hour, get it the hell out. The Post, I'm with Terence. It's a great movie. I gave it an A. I still stand by my score. But there's better movies out there. The Disasters, where's that at? Logan, where's that at?
Florida Project.
Yeah, the Florida Project. Good time. Hell, if you're going to nominate I, Tonya for actress and editing, where the hell that at? Where's Baby Driver?
You know what? Outside the box, Wind River.
I wasn't a fan of Wind River. I know.
What?
I know, because Terrence and I have done this for so long that we actually were a part of Sicario and Hell or High Water when they were nominated, and I'm going to tell you right now on air, I prefer those two Taylor Sheridan movies versus this one. I thought the direction was a little flat. It's almost how I kind of felt with Aaron Sorkin with Molly's Game a little bit.
Okay.
He's going to get better, and his writing is always spectacular, with like Sicario and stuff, but I just didn't really care for it as a whole.
It's okay to be wrong sometimes. It's okay.
Terrence throwing the shade. No, I just, there's plenty of other movies that could be in there with The Post and Darkest Hour. And last thing, before we wrap this up, get this. Jordan Peele is a 3-time nominee in one fell swoop. One ceremony, he's already a 3-time nominee with picture, screenplay, and directing. How amazing is that? And also, get this, and I'm only doing this because I like to twist my nips about this. Jason Blum is now a 2-time Oscar nominee for, get this, for a drama with Whiplash and a genre horror picture with Get Out. This man is unstoppable. That means you can't count him out now for genre pictures. He has an upper hand than most horror producers out there right now. Like, the fact that he was nominated for, producing Whiplash and now this, that is incredible. The same guy who produced Ouija is a 2-time Oscar nominee now. That is insanity to me. So but it's all great news though. So that is the nominations, guys, for the 90th Academy Awards. It's a hell of a year. There's some great surprises with like Get Out sneaking in there, Lady Bird getting a lot of love, and of course spreading that out to Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig, Daniel Kaluuya sneaking in there, Timothée Chalamet, one of the younger ones, snuck in there, Margot Robbie doing big stuff with her career. Christopher Plummer sneaking in there with his Sneak Attack. Hell, even the directing is nice with Christopher Nolan getting some love, and Paul Thomas Anderson. It's just and then Logan's adapted screenplay. Like, this is such a great year. I'm excited for this ceremony. Terence, just your overall thoughts with the nominations.
Yeah, like you said, like I'm really glad with the parody of all the nominations. Like, everybody for the most part, like a slight few snubs or whatever like that. Like, but I'm glad like everybody got like some love. Like, you got, like you said, Get Out, a genre picture that came out in like March, got some love. Independent movie like Calling You by Your Name got some love. Also, like I'm glad Greta Gerwig, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, I liked the movie, but I'm glad somebody like her as a first director got a nomination too. I got some love too. And then I'm glad also too, like Sam Rockwell, Allison Janney, actors and actresses and directors that are not normally up there are being recognized for their work, which I'm happy about. Like, I'm not, like, in years past I could have been like, I'm mad at this, I'm mad at that. But on the Richter scale, it's like, I'm not really that mad with anybody that got chosen. You could have added maybe substitute a few people in there, but overall, I think it's a pretty good selection of people that got nominated.
I totally agree, and I will end with this because I totally forgot to bring this up. Before this ceremony, Netflix has had 7 nominations and they've only won once for a short documentary. I don't think people are selling this as greatly as it is, but the fact that they were nominated for core categories as well as supporting actress, this is the highest one they've ever gotten for any one of their movies. So the fact that Mary J. Blige is the first one to get one of the highest categories for Netflix, that's important. Because now when we have, like The Irishman coming out this year and like these other movies that have potential to do sting at the Academy, this is huge. The fact that Netflix has a Best Supporting Actress nominee under their belt now from one of their movies they distributed on their streaming site is huge. So get ready for that, because that's about to change the game. That is the highest they've ever gotten with, like, in cinematography and editing as well. It's like, come on, man. Like, I mean, like, Terence, like, when you see that, like, do you feel like Netflix could be unstoppable in the next couple of years?
Yeah, you know what? It opens the door, especially when you got, like you said, The Irishman. You got Martin Scorsese, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro. I mean, that opens the door where you don't have to, like, because usually people with something, it's like on a streaming service, like, they snub at it. When you got movies like Mudbound, even the last one with Idris Elba that came out, that had a little love too. So now you get more, you taking Netflix in more respectable rate now. Like they are not to be messed with when it comes to certain movies and stuff like that. So I'm glad that the doors are wide and open for Netflix to be taken seriously, which is only going to go up from here.
Yeah, it's just simply incredible, because before that it was like Netflix has been nominated, right? And so when I was looking up, their awards kind of, filmography, it's like they've been nominated 7 times, and they've been primarily nominated for documentaries. And as well, they have another nominee in the documentary this year with Icarus. And so that's what they've all been kind of known for. And they won for one documentary short like 4 years ago. Now, with Mudbound piercing through everything, That is definitely going to change the game for them, so good on them. But guys, that will do it for this podcast, this extra episode where Terrence and I go over the Oscar nominees. We've been doing that for 4 years now, and we're going to continue to do it until the day we die, because that's just what we do, folks. But no, we will be back on Sunday, March 4th. This is where it gets tricky. Terrence and I are in 2 different time zones. For Central Time, it will start at 7 p.m. and for Terrence, it will start at 8, which means Terrence won't get done with it until about 1 a.m. That's pretty much it. So, so we'll be back March 4th. Well, we will literally cover it. The whole 3-hour ceremony. We're going to have our list ready, and we're going to see who comes out on top with their picks. It will be a lot of fun. Oh, and I guess just one last thing before we go. Terrence, how do you feel about Jimmy Kimmel hosting?
I think he's good. I like him as a host. He's really funny, so it's like I don't mind him being a host. I think he can be able to do a lot better than the last one he got. So,
who was the last one again?
What's the guy's name? Dewey Hauser.
Neil Patrick Harris?
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris. I think he was the last one.
That was him last year?
I think so.
See, these are all starting to blur together. I just forget everything now.
It is. It's hard, man.
But no, we'll see you guys on March 4th. Terrence and I will be back. And, of course, Joel and I will actually have our nominee episode about a week before the Oscars, so you can get Joel's kind of take on it or whatever. But, we just want to get you guys this out, when the nominations came out, because this is important, guys. This is our Super Bowl. So we will see you guys on March 4th. Terrence, would you like to plug anything before we go?
You know what? Yeah, I'll plug in my Twitter. Like, I realized that I could have condensed everything by plugging my social media by just saying Twitter, because everything else just leads from there. So I'm going to be in a Delt right now, so follow me on Twitter at Mr. TPJ, and everything, you can find me on Letterboxd from there and Instagram from there. So awesome. Mr. TPJ on Twitter.
Yeah, and that description will be below. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at RealChaseLee. Subscribe to my YouTube channel where I'll have, early reviews I don't review on this show. And, of course, subscribe to this podcast, spread it around, let people know this is the definitive movie podcast. Terrence and I will be back in a month and a half. Peace out, everyone. Let me play the outro music. Bye-bye.